a group of 30 Chinese migrants found near the Texas-Mexico border. Unusual occurrence, Biden cabinet-level trio testify in China policy hearing. Taiwan retrofits new Anping-class patrol vessel as China conducts constant harassment. Many Chinese people's pension account balances plummeted, some even reduced by half overnight.
Texas law enforcement officials found 30 Chinese nationals near the southern border. As reported by Fox News, on May 16th, a Texas Department of Public Safety trooper discovered the group strolling down a road in Roma, Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley. He then managed to get them off the road and called the US Border Patrol. Agents subsequently responded and processed the migrants. The Rio Grande Valley has been a hotbed of illegal crossings into the US from Mexico. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, has been particularly forceful in his efforts to combat the illegal flow of migrants into his state, while criticizing the Biden administration for not doing enough to handle the border. To make his point, he has even bused migrants to places governed by democracies. However, since May 11th, when Title 42 expired, authorities claim that the number of people crossing the border has decreased by 50%. US Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas stated on CNN's State of the Union program that the numbers we have experienced in the past 2 days are markedly down over what they were prior to the end of Title 42. Mayorkas reported 6,300 border interactions on May 12th, and 4,200 the following day, but he cautioned it was still early in the new regime. He attributed the decline in crossings to the reinstatement of criminal penalties for immigrants who enter the country illegally under the current statute following the expiration. The public health order put into place by the previous administration of Donald Trump permitted swift deportation of immigrants without going through the asylum procedure. There are a growing number of Chinese migrants arriving at the US-Mexico border. Data from US Customs and Border Protection show that 4,366 people from China encountered Border Patrol officials after crossing the southern border without authorization from October 2022 to February 2023. That's compared to the same period in 2021 and 2022, where 421 migrants were encountered. As reported by News Nation in March, Border Patrol saw a record 900% spike in Chinese nationals crossing at the southern border last year. A US Senate hearing on May 16th drew 3 of President Joe Biden's cabinet officials to testify together for the first time on China policy. This rare joint appearance highlights Washington's focus on competing with the rising Asian power. Reuters reported that the hearing featured Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo. During the Senate Appropriations Committee hearing on the 2024 proposed budget request, 3 cabinet members focused on American security, competitiveness, and the path ahead for the US-China relationship. According to Newsweek, cabinet-level officials frequently testify before Congress alone or alongside other department members, so it was unusual that all 3 showed up at the same hearing, which underscored the Biden administration's collective emphasis on gaining funding to counter Chinese competition. In her opening remarks, Raimondo stated that maintaining a competitive advantage over China requires ongoing investment in industries like manufacturing and cutting-edge technology. For most of the last 2 decades, China's economic development has surpassed that of the US. The World Bank's most current estimates indicate that China's GDP reached over $17.7 trillion in 2021, up from $1.32 trillion in 2001. In contrast, the US increased from almost $10.6 trillion in 2001 to $23.3 trillion in 2021. Raimondo said during the hearing, "Our ability to counter China requires us to show up. It requires us to show up in embassies, and it requires us to show up on the ground with money." Democratic Senator Patty Murray of Washington, chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, said during a hearing, "China is not debating whether to pay its debts or wreck its economy." Murray added, "The more we play with default, punt investments, and teeter on the edge of government shutdowns, the more we prove China and our competitors are right, and helping them show the world that it is their moment to overshadow our leadership, and helping them demonstrate their core belief that totalitarianism is stronger than democratic values." Senator Tim Kaine, a Virginia Democrat who also serves on the Foreign Relations Committee, told Newsweek, "This relationship is going to be the most important bilateral relationship in the world for decades." He added, "So there ought to be something that would suggest some continuity, and I think congressional action would do that." Taiwan's Ocean Affairs Council, or OAC, on May 15th held a 2-in-1 ceremony, meant to strengthen Taiwan's navy amid the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, continuously sending its ships and aircraft to harass the island's airspace and waters. According to Taiwan News, the first ceremony was to hand over the 6th 35-ton Anping-class patrol vessel, the Qi'an, to the Taiwan Coast Guard. The second ceremony was for naming the 7th Anping-class patrol boat, the Wan Li. OAC Minister Quan Bi-ling said that the Taiwanese government is implementing a defense shipbuilding policy and has provided $1.38 billion to develop more Coast Guard vessels. Quan said that in about 10 years, from 2018 to 2027, to develop a new fleet to enforce the law in Taiwan's waters, it will build 141 new generation Coast Guard ships. She added that to date, half of those Coast Guard ships are already in service. According to the Coast Guard Administration, or CGA, the Anping-class patrol vessel can withstand winds of up to 9 on the Beaufort scale and travel at a top speed of over 50 miles, or 81 kilometers per hour. The vessel also has a high-pressure water cannon reaching almost 400 feet, or 120 meters, a remote-controlled gun turret, and a Chen-Hai multi-barreled rocket system. The OAC revealed that the Qi'an would be handed over to the Eastern Flotilla Sector for maritime protection of fishing rights within Taiwan's borders. Meanwhile, the Wan Li will be transferred to the Northern Flotilla Sector to perform patrol missions in northern Taiwan's exclusive economic zone. Recently, Social Security in some Chinese cities has encountered problems. For example, on May 8th, the new Social Security system in Shenzhen started operating online. And soon after, many people reported the balance in their personal Social Security accounts suddenly dropped. As a result, some people's Social Security balance fell by half overnight. For example, from $44,500 to $27,200. Some netizens said they had paid social insurance for over 20 years, accumulating a principal of over $27,200. But their 8-year interest of $17,200 suddenly disappeared. There have been many similar complaints. On May 10th, the Shenzhen Social Security Fund Management Bureau explained it was due to the change in the display rules. Guangdong Province has stipulated that the new Social Security system only displays the principal, not the interest. Not just in Shenzhen, many Shanghai people also said their Social Security accounts had been halved. They initially were to receive $858 a month, but now it's reduced to only $430. Shanghai Stock Exchange published an article stating, "The actual amount in the individual's pension insurance account has not been reduced, and the rights and benefits of insured individuals have not been affected." Notably, the Social Security problems in Shenzhen and Shanghai occurred after Social Security was incorporated into the national plan. However, Chinese officials said the overall national strategy and the new system's launch have no impact on the calculation and distribution of pensions. A Sina article once asked, "If there is no difference, why should Social Security be included in the overall national plan?" The report then explained that China's Social Security was initially coordinated at the county, municipal, and provincial levels. Now, it needs to be coordinated at the national level. The scope of the collapse of China's Social Security system continues to expand. There was no way to solve it, so higher authorities had to intervene. As a result, the scope of the overall plan has become larger and larger, and it has become a national comprehensive plan. In this way, provinces with large pension deficits will be supported by wealthy regions. Unfortunately, Shanghai and Shenzhen are wealthy regions, and these changes have caused panic among wealthy provinces' residents across the country. The bigger question is, how long can these regions stay wealthy when being impacted by other regions? Some observers have calculated, based on a series of official figures released by the Chinese Communist Party regime, that more and more provinces are short of balances in the Social Security accounts. However, with the support of wealthy regions, the national pension scheme can last until 2027. but will be exhausted by 2035. Observers have previously pointed out that Chinese people's pensions are helping the CCP support its bureaucratic system, not the people. Moreover, the CCP is now considering delaying the retirement age.